question for y'all. Is grading your least favorite part of your job? Are you done with agonizing over a misplaced comma is worth 1 point or 5 points? Do you have a suspicion that those multiple choice tests aren't really reflecting the learning that goes on in your classroom? Are you tired of the side eye that you get when you walk into the classroom after you have posted your exam or your paper scores? If any of these are true for you, then it might be time for you to investigate some alternative assessment.
Hi, I'm Alex Watkins, and I'm a professor here at ACC. I am so excited to work with you as you begin your career here. And I want to talk to you today about my journey with turning to alternative assessments. So, in addition to facilitating the Inclusive Teaching in Action workshop through TLED, I'm also a TLED frequent flyer. And as a part of my work in the Teaching and Learning Academy, I had a conversation with a kind and thoughtful colleague about the disconnect that she noticed between my assignment descriptions, where I discussed things that I really value, like uh, thinking about going through drafts, seeking out and providing feedback, working in community with one another, and just in general, working through multiple iterations, dealing with tough topics and things that are oftentimes pain points for folks, and coming out as a stronger writer. On the other hand, my rubrics focused on things like grammar, style, and organization, a lot less empowering and a lot less exciting. And I kind of already felt this because I knew that I was not seeing in my grades the success that I saw in my students. Uh, and I also knew, as a former and recovering slacker student, that I could write an essay that would get an A in about an hour, but I didn't really learn how to write until grad school. And I didn't want to perpetuate that system for my students. I wanted them to feel empowered and excited. And I wanted my grading to reflect the values that I had for what was important for students. So I transferred over to alternative assessments. I broke up with exams and I exclusively use these different strategies that help my students be assessed based on the things that are important to me and that are important to them as well. This transition has had several benefits for me and my students. For me, a lot of the scaffolding assignments are now completion credit. So I still provide a lot of feedback, but I don't have to worry about agonizing over how to grade something like a draft or a planning document. And that saves me a lot of time. Students still produce the same quality of work as they did when they received more traditional grades, but now they see that the work they put into the class pays off. They value the opportunity to get points as a reward for engaging in those positive behaviors. And those horrible standoffs that I had with myself and my students over particularities of determining whether a misplaced comma or bad intro was worth 5 points or 20 points, etc. Well, I don't have those anymore. I still grade major assignments so students know where they would sit if somebody were grading them more traditionally, but students know they can revise or make up the points in different areas by going to tutoring or academic coaching to continue to level up their skills.
So, now that you've heard about my experience, are you excited to get started with alternative assessments? Let's talk about some ways that you might be able to get started with your own alternative assessments in your class. We'll start with easy, simple changes that you can make to assignments to explore more alternative options. And then I'll give you some ideas to grow on if you are further along in your alternative assessment journey. The first option is to offer scaffolding assignments, which some folks call a formative assessment. These are low stake opportunities for students to practice their skills and receive credit and feedback for doing so. This could look like pretests, planning documents, or reading responses, drafts of major essays or assignments, and peer review. Give these assignments some weight beyond the exam so students find the activities meaningful and worth their time. The second option is project based learning. Reduce or remove testing from your repertoire and instead design projects that relate holistically to your learning outcomes. Project based learning means that your ultimate assessment is a deliverable or a series of deliverables that test students' critical thinking and problem solving skills on more complex projects than the traditional one time sit down exam. This will show that they have mastered your outcomes and give them meaningful work to do throughout the course. The third option is reflection and metacognition. This can look like writing, videos, podcasts, or even discussions. Metacognition is an important component of student learning and offering the opportunity for students to think about how they've met learning outcomes, what they think about what they're learning, how it aligns or doesn't with what they thought coming into the course, and what behaviors helped or harmed them can provide an enriching experience for your students. As a bonus, reflective writing is some of the strongest writing I see from students. So you'll be able to enjoy grading a little bit more if you assign reflective and metacognitive work. The fourth option is group activities and projects. I know group work gets a bad rap, but learning works best when students feel like they belong in the class. And even that dreaded group work, if done well and scaffolded appropriately, can really help students with getting a more engaged and exciting learning experience. Adding elements like a team charter, task schedule, progress reports, and other planning documents also ensures your students learn how to collaborate instead of us assuming that somehow they pick up that important life skill along the way. The fifth option is discussion boards and forums. Students love discussing deep topics with the right guidance. Make sure your discussion topics are meaty, interesting, exciting, or provocative. Attaching discussions to news items, particularly contentious topics, popular readings, and other things that excite students will enliven your class. Are you sick of trying to run discussions all alone? In my classes, I have students serve as discussion leaders, preparing a presentation and questions for the class. They run the class, and I get to sit in the background. As a bonus, students don't like to ice out their fellow classmates, so you might notice that students will participate beyond what they might traditionally do in your discussions. The sixth option is test corrections. If you aren't ready to break up with exams just yet, consider offering students an opportunity to correct their tests for some bonus points. A math professor I knew had students record themselves solving questions that they had missed on their tests and posted these videos as a resource repository to help future students who had the same struggles. Have you already started this journey and you're looking for another level up? You might try out more systematic approaches to alternative assessment. I already mentioned I use contract grading, and other options include specs grading and competency grading, which involves changing your whole entire class structure to a more alternative approach. I hope you find yourself at home here at ACC and consider helping students find their own purpose and belonging by thinking outside the box and being creative in how they earn credit for your class. I'd love to hear from you. Please feel free to reach out via my email. Go River Bats!